We're looking back at this day in local history now. The head of the German government came to Jackson 22 years ago today. Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder was here to help open the Glory of Baroque Dresden exhibition at the Mississippi Arts Pavilion downtown. It was the first North American display of priceless art, jewels, pottery, and other treasures from Dresden in 25 years. The chancellor said it was a special honor to get to travel to the U.S. to see the exhibition for himself. Over the next 6 months, it welcomed thousands of visitors from across the world. German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder was one of the first. On February 27, 2004, your look at this day in history.